we're at least following along with doing the product rule inside the quotient rule. So, first thing, let's go ahead and look at, let's just go ahead and write this out, how this would be as far as the quotient rule. We're first going to take our bottom term, and put everything in parentheses, and then we're going to multiply that by the derivative of my numerator, my 200 text, minus my numerator times the derivative of my denominator all over my denominator squared. Does everybody need to do the f prime, g prime kind of thing? Or is everybody? Remember, this is just the g prime of x times f of x minus f prime of x all over g of x squared. Right? It's really the same thing. I'm just using different notation. And I'm not using f of x and g of x. Right? But everybody at least has the quotient rule. Got that in there. All right, so the issue comes in is now when I'm taking the derivative, crap. Now when I'm taking the derivative of x times sine of x, now I have to do the product rule. All right, so it's not the end of the world, but it just creates a little bit messier of a problem. So I'm going to start a little bit farther over. So I have x plus 1. Now, when I take the derivative here of this, remember you're going to take the derivative of the first term, which is 1, times sine of x, plus, just remember the difference between the product rule and the quotient rule, plus my first term times, let me put these around parentheses, times the derivative of sine, which is just cosine. And that's going to be minus x. Got to be careful with this. Just make sure you put those all in parentheses here, because you're not just you're subtracting all of them. So just make sure you understand that. So we have x sine of x times the derivative of di or dx is just going to be 1 all over x plus 1 squared. Now, we can leave it as this point. This is the derivative. But if we're looking into possibly doing like a multiple choice problem, there might be some further simplifying that we could go on. And the way that I'm looking at it is, we have a possibility of x sine of x, and if I distribute this to x sine of x, I'm going to have something else that's going to cancel out, right? So this would more likely not going to show up on a multiple choice answer as far as your answer. Now, as far as just taking the pure derivative, hey, we're good. But let's go ahead and work into some simplifying. So therefore, I'm going to distribute this x here. So therefore, I'll have x sine of x plus x squared cosine of x plus sine of x plus x cosine of x minus x sine of x all over x plus 1 squared. So all I did was I multiplied the x plus 1 times the sine of x plus cosine of x, and that got me that product. But the important thing of that is sine of x and negative sine of x now divide out. So therefore, my final result is going to be, let's do it up here, it's going to be x squared cosine of x plus sine of x plus x cosine of x all over x plus 1 squared. And again, I'm not going to expand this out because I don't see any really benefit of expanding that out. It's not going to help simplify the problem any further. So we're just going to leave it like that. Okay? But does everybody see how I can use the product rule inside the quotient rule? Kind of thing? Yeah. Yes? No?